Had a bit of a late start today, but it wouldn't be Monday without some issues, right? I'm Tim. Welcome to my stream. Gonna have a lot of fun today. Today is biceps. We're gonna do some bicep curls. We're doing some bicep curls. Warm up. We're gonna be starting with 3 sets of 10. I'm gonna start doing my intro while I warm up. I find that I get bogged down in my intro and I lose a little bit of time. So this is going to be a year-long recording of my workouts. Some basic body transformation. Going to be nope. I don't think I can. No, I'm not good enough today. Count and talk at the same time. Let's see. So what's different about my transformation from others is that I'm going to be not taking any sort of like protein supplements, no powders, no pre-workouts, no BCAAs, no pills, nothing. Not that I'm opposed to those things. I don't have a problem with those. I don't have a problem with creatine and people using those products. I've used those products, but I've used them for so long, and I don't know how much good they're doing me overall, and if I really need them, or can I get enough nutrients, from just eating. If I eat a good diet and I eat enough protein, do I need all of these extra products? And that's the goal of this year, is to kind of see what it looks like, to take some time away from them, and see what I can do without them, see how I feel, see if it's necessary. My, you know, one of the reasons why I'm doing it too is not just to see what it's like, but it's also the past year I had one of my children start preschool, and it is expensive. So I was looking for ways to cut costs and realized I was spending, around $100 a month in supplements. That's $1,200 a year. If I cut back, it's a nice little piece of change. So give us some breathing room. I just say I am very amateur at lifting. So this is not none of this is intended to be instructions on how to lift, how to exercise or routines. I promise you if that's what you're looking for, it's not it. There are a lot of other resources for that, a lot of other people online that you can watch, kind of get a better idea of how, proper techniques, how not to hurt yourself, better dieting options, all sorts of things are out there. And I definitely encourage you to explore those, you know, those options. Go look at these other people, see the proper way of doing things. Don't hurt yourself. Be smart. Don't follow my lead on that. Yeah, there's a lot of good options out there. Or find someone local wherever you are that knows how to lift, and you know pay a little bit extra, but get someone that can coach you and show you how to properly lift. These are the 20-pound dumbbells. Just warming up. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I did. Went and saw my first rugby match. My cousin plays rugby, and you see Santa Cruz, yeah, Santa Cruz or Santa Barbara. You see Santa Barbara, and it was cool. It was cool. No, you see Santa Cruz. It was cool to watch him play. Rugby definitely looks intense. I've never seen rugby played before, and it definitely looks like a good way to pick up a lot of bruises, at the very least. Hey, they were hitting hard. I was proud to see my little cousin take down a couple of guys out there. And by little, it's just because he's my younger cousin. It's funny. I don't know how tall he is now. I think he's got to be like 6'2". His dad is like 6'4", so he's gonna be a beast. What's up to Crypto 29? Morning. Rugby is a brutal sport. Too much for me. Yeah, I don't know. I've never played. I'd be interested. I hear people lose like their ears, get really messed up. I saw a couple of guys get hurt. It didn't look, nothing too serious, but I think the no pads can be rough. Have you ever play rugby like for fun? Crypto? All right, moving up to 40 pounds. Know a bit of Aussie rules in school, but there's a lot of contact there. Are you from Australia? I've never made it to Australia. Someday. Seems like there's a lot of very cool people in Australia. One of these days, I'll head down there. I listen to a lot of comedians that go down to Australia and do shows, and they talk a lot about just the cool people that are there. I've known a few Australians. I haven't met any Australians I haven't liked. So there's that. It's funny is you always hear about all the poisonous spiders and snakes and obviously the crocs and all the sharks and stuff you guys have to deal with there and the jellyfish. But I was surprised to see last year. I was looking at the statistics on how many people actually die from venomous bites and problems in Australia. It's not as for all of the things that can kill you down there. It was not as bad as I thought. Thought it was going to be a lot worse, but apparently you guys are good at dealing with those all of those creatures because there wasn't that many like fatal, wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was expecting to see it to be absolutely crazy there. I think Steve Irwin kind of made a lot of that popular in the U.S. Everybody loved his show here for years. Dressing up like Steve Irwin was a popular costume at Halloween for a lot of kids. Far more drownings at beaches. Hmm. Is that because of the tides, or what causes more drownings? Just people being drunk, or we have like people that don't know. Yeah, I live in NorCal, and people will get in trouble because they don't know about riptides. They're not paying attention to not just riptides, but sleeper waves. We have like giant waves that come out of nowhere and hit the shore, and people just don't look around. When I was a kid, I heard about the undertow. Um, that's the currents underneath the water can suck you down and hold you down. But when I heard the story of the undertow, I misheard my parents, and I thought they said undertowed. And so for years as a little kid, I thought there was like a giant toad in the ocean that would like grab you and pull you under and drown you. I was very weary of the ocean and this giant toad that liked to drown people. my dad always taught us don't turn your back on the ocean. Yeah, I've misunderstood a lot of things as a kid. Even as an adult, I misunderstood things. I lived in China for a couple of years. Um, when I was like 16 to just before I turned 18. And in China, there's a lot of like Indian movies and Indian music. It's pretty popular. Bollywood is all over China. And when I got back to the US, I heard everybody talking about indie music and indie stars. And I just assumed that India had made the jump in popularity in the US while I was gone. And everybody loved Indian music now. I didn't realize for years the reference was to independent music, not Indian music. So I would just hear indie music and thought, oh, everybody loves Indian stuff now. And I was, I probably thought that from like 18 to 20. It took me a long time to realize it wasn't Indian music. All right, I did 3 sets of 8 with the 40 pounds. I'm gonna go for another set, but it's gonna start being ugly. So we're gonna see how many I can do before it's truly atrocious, and then I'll stop. No, that's the ugly one. All right, that's 7. That's 2 more than last week. Last week I did 3 sets of 8 and 1 set of 5. This week 3 sets of 8 and 1 set of 7. And I feel like this week it looked a lot better on all the sets. All about those little improvements. Do you ever do any surfing in Australia? All right, we're going down to 30 pounds. I'm really good at surfing. I haven't surfed in a few years. Just hard to find the time. We have up here it's cold. We have the like great white sharks up here. too. So we have the cold rocks and great white sharks, but we have some good surfing. I don't get those big storms. You get some pretty big swells. But yeah, I'm on the West Coast, Northern California. We get the great whites, but I don't think we have near the shark problem that like Australia or South Africa has. I think you guys get tagged more. We had a problem in Florida for a little bit, but that's because they were doing all those tour boats and feeding them closer and closer to the hammerheads. They were feeding them too close to shore and overfeeding them. I've never had any shark encounters. I've never really known anyone that got bit. We have we have quite a few people that get bumped. Like great whites will come up and bump people, but not as many attacks. Yeah, you guys get it way more than we do. One shark fatality this season near Perth. Yeah, it's not fun. My uncle who surfs went out to the coast one day and like got to the beach and everybody was out of the water and he asked what happened. He said, "Oh man, some guy got bumped by a great white." So everyone's out of the water and my uncle thought about it and said, "Well, there's gonna be one guy that goes out first, and that guy is gonna be the one that gets the waves to themselves for a while before other people do, and it might as well be me." So he went on out, and then of course everybody else followed suit. But he got like one or two waves that were really good, he said, before other people came back out. when you're out in the water there, what bothers you more, like the concern for sharks or those jellyfish, those little box jellyfish that are out there? Do you live near the coast then, or I know I know that's a silly question since most of Australia lives near the coast. At least that's my understanding. There's a podcast I used to listen to a lot called The Dollop. It's guy Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds, and they've done some tours in Australia. Usually, they tell that one of the comedians, David Anthony, tells a story that's crazy about American history to his friend Gareth Reynolds, who listens to it and responds to the insanity. And they do some improv stuff around it while it's going on. But when they go to Australia, they'll do Australian stories, and there's some crazy Australian stories, some good ones. My favorite that they did was the story of, I think it's Queen Victoria's nephew. It was like the first English royalty to visit Australia, and everybody was trying to put on their their best put their best foot forward, and it just was a disaster, one disaster after another. And he ended up getting shot by a Finnegan, which was the like original like IRA, Irish Republican Army. Like 30 minutes from the beach. Yeah, I'm about 30 45 minutes from the beach, depending on tourists. Tourists can turn 30-minute drive into almost an hour, depending on how bad they are. It's hard to pass them on those curvy roads. a national day of drinking too much. I think our national day of drinking too much is usually St. Patrick's Day. I very much enjoy St. Patrick's Day. You guys do St. Patrick's Day in Australia? Any excuse to have drinks with friends and blow off steam. Yeah, I you there. I turned when I was younger until I had kids and Halloween became more about the kids. I figured out I would dress up like a pirate and go trick or treating. For I don't know if you guys have trick or treating in Australia, but like the kids dress up and they go door to door and they get candy from people. But I figured out I dress up like a pirate and go door to door getting drinks from people. And some people like, oh no, I can't. But a lot of people do. And a lot of people really like getting pirates drunk. That's a lot of fun. So if you're ever in the US on Halloween, get yourself a pirate's costume and just go get obliterated. And the nice part is, if you're a pirate and you're drunk, it's all part of the costume. It's very much what you're supposed to be. So people are okay with it. It's like the one time you can be a stumbling drunk pirate and nobody's like, call the police. We were here in 2004. Oh man, you've been here for all of them. Yeah, man, you missed out. If you do it, the pirate costume, in my experience, one year I did it as a ninja, and people were not like, for whatever reason, were not as into giving alcohol to a ninja as they were a pirate. So the pirate's the way to go. And take your own shot glass. I found I had more success if I had my own shot glass. People were more inclined if you had a shot glass with you. Yeah, man. When it comes to getting free drinks, it's important to be a scholar. I think I'm gonna do one more set at 30 pounds and then drop on down to 20. I need to get to doing abs before the end of this though. I'm running out of time. I wanted to test whether or not you can just get free drinks if you dress like a pirate and go to a bar. One of these days I'll test it out. My wife and I went to Reno, Nevada. It's like a downgraded version of Vegas. And we did a pirate's crawl where you go, everybody dresses like a pirate and you go from bar to bar getting drinks. It was a lot of fun. But we stopped off at one of the casinos that wasn't on the map, so there were no other. I was the only pirate in there, and my wife went to the restroom, and I went to the bar to get a drink while I was waiting for her. And some like lady instantly like glued herself to me, and was very, very direct about like it's not what you want to do, because not only am I married, but my wife has been drinking as well, and she will mop the floor with you. So, but I've had the idea that maybe I could get drunk for free if I was dressed like a pirate at a bar. My wife would have. And this gal may have been like 120 pounds. My wife could have easily picked her up and like tossed her across the bar. Do you guys do Halloween in Australia? Yeah, Halloween is losing its popularity here. They let people weasel out of doing it. When I was a kid, almost every house had candy. The only houses that didn't have candy was like a very rare exception of a Jehovah's Witness family. You knew who all the Jehovah's Witnesses were in your area because they'd be the only house that didn't have candy. But now, like so many houses, it's like one out of every 3 houses doesn't participate, and which is annoying. All you have to do is once a year, just give candy to kids. It's not crazy. Oh no, it was going downhill before the unnamed virus. It was losing popularity for a while, unfortunately. Oh, nice. Did you spend like a lot of time living in the U.S. at all, or just visiting? Nice. I've been to Boston and New York. Spent more time in Boston when I was a kid. I visited Boston. I love history, and Boston has a lot of it. I like Boston. I like the people there. I like the I like on the East Coast people can be very direct. In California, we tend to seem really friendly and polite, and like we Californians are very fake in that they'll be very woke to your face and have all the right bumper stickers on their car, but be very racist or classist, elitist. I've done a lot of work outside, like from construction to just landscaping and maintenance, janitorial work, and no one was ruder than the male or female driving the Prius with their, you know, whatever presidential candidate was running for the Democratic Party at the time. Whether it was they have their President Obama sticker, or Bernie, or Biden sticker, or Hillary sticker. It's always the same thing. They'd be so rude. Yet they were the ones that were supposed to be really for the people and above that.